What's up, Go Community? Scott here with the Gaming Outsider. This week we're discussing game demos. Remember those discs that came in video game magazines back in the day? Yeah, those were the days, right? We'll share ours and our listeners' stories playing them and whether or not they were successful in selling us on purchasing. In news, we discuss the drama between Epic and Apple and Android. Also, Halo Infinite's been delayed, and we have an announcement date for a new Batman Arkham game. New games discussed include Mortal Shell, Undermine, and I finally got to play more Fall Guys. Seriously, come play that game with me. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to episode 308 of The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community. It's Monday, August 17th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me is my good friend, Zach Parkerson. What's up, man?
Hey, man, not much. Just listening to Hamilton more and more every day.
More and more every day. It's been like 2 weeks since I've watched it in the background.
It's such good pump-up music, man.
It really is. I love it. I'll go days without it like being in my head, and then I'll just see like a Hamilton logo, or someone will make a quote somewhere on social media, and then a song will be in my head for the remainder of the day, and I can't get it out.
Yeah, I try to weave lyrics into my normal everyday conversation.
Do you?
People are like, hey, I don't really like this milk. I'm like, you'll never be satisfied.
It's so good. If you haven't watched or listened to it, I highly recommend it. And that is coming from a guy that is not a big rap guy or R&B or whatever, and I adore every note of this musical.
Yeah. As someone who does like rap, it is the only reason I watched it.
Oh, yeah. Watch with subtitles, too. I think we mentioned that before, but anyway, this is going to turn into the Hamilton podcast very quickly.
That's fine.
You probably noticed already, CB is not joining us tonight. Unfortunately, he had a family emergency that he had to take care of. Don't worry, he's fine, but some situation came up that he needed to address tonight. So you're stuck with just me and Zach, but hey, it's been a while since it was just you and I, man. Not to disparage CB at all. I wish he were here, but we haven't got to sit down and chat, just the two of us, in a while.
Yeah, our takes will be less hot, however, without CB.
Yeah, especially with some of the stuff going on in the news, I feel like we're gonna agree a little bit too much. People like the contention,
and we don't have to weave as many rumors to the conversation either.
Right, and there's going to be a lot less of the word "so" in this episode.
That's how I punctuate.
But hey, thanks for being here, man. It's been a good week. I think a lot of stuff happened, a lot of interesting things to talk about. I've been in training all day for work. It's like an online Zoom training.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Actually, it's really good. This is one training that I'm actually really enjoying. The instructor is very engaging, and it's a lot of hands-on stuff, so there's not a lot of time for you to get bored sitting and listening to somebody drone on and on. She's very good at keeping everybody engaged. However, I in the master of multitasking, so I've been sitting there on mute for portions where I'm not contributing and running my sewing machine in the background during training. So I finished another 30 masks today, which, by the way, 4 new masks now available on the website. We've got 2 new Minecraft ones and 2 new Zelda ones. They're ones that look like this monolith wall art with Zelda stuff. That's really cool. One with some stained glass, and then some Minecraft ones for the kids.
Is it the wall murals from Wind Waker?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm. And they're actually, Christina from the Gaming Outsider team has a dress made entirely of the same material. I found out after I bought it. So
that's cool.
It's kind of cool. But yeah, they look really good. And I've spent a lot of time adjusting the pieces of it to get the really good parts of the fabric. I don't know, to show Link and the Triforce and stuff. I'm really proud of how they turned out. I kind of want one for myself, but and just to reiterate, we are pushing that kind of stuff, but I have not, and nor has anybody else from the Gaming Outsider crew, kept a dime of the money that we've earned from the sale of masks. Everything that we've taken is going towards R2V2, our next R2V2, whenever that is.
Yeah,
more than likely 2021. But
you say that acronym, man, I just get sad.
I know, it's a bummer, but it's gonna happen, man. Our guests have agreed to come back, and I'm looking forward to planning that one. And we are back up to about where we were, money wise, in terms of what we had to pay in taxes and everything for 2019, and all the expenses and everything. We're about back to where we were.
Some real inside baseball we're putting on the air.
I know, but it's my life has been numbers for the past few weeks trying to calculate stuff. So I'm R2V2 is very important to me. I know a lot of our listeners aren't able to come. They live out of state. They can't visit it, but it's very, very important to me to be able to provide something like that for our local Rockford community. And plus, it actually gets Zach up to Rockford to visit. So
that's true.
It's the only way I get to see Zach in person is when we throw a convention and he gets to meet Sissy Jones, and then all of a sudden he's able to come. So
yeah, that's what it is. All Sissy.
So anyway, also Community Game Night is coming up on Friday, August 21st, 8:00 Central Time. And I apparently I didn't do a great job explaining what it was last week. So I decided to bring in one of our community managers from our Discord team to talk about it. So let me see if I can get David on the line here. David, are you there?
Hey guys, I'm here.
Hey, what's going on, man? How you been?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Just started up back up in medical school. So
nice.
How have you been?
Doing all right. I wanted to get a chance to talk with you, and I wanted the people to know your name a little bit better. David Newman is one of our community managers over on our Discord channel, and he and 3 of the other guys are heading up community game nights and organizing that and getting all that together. And since I did a horrible job explaining it last week, I decided to bring David on to kind of give everybody the rundown of what exactly that means, what we're doing. Can you kind of explain that to everybody?
Yeah. So instead of picking a game, what we're going to do is we're going to meet over in the Discord chat under Game Night Chat. And we're going to actually set up where we're going to have multiple games going on over different systems. So we're going to have people playing on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC if anybody wants to join on there. And that way we get an inclusion of everyone, instead of just leaving it to one game or requiring a crossplay type of game. So we'll be having multiple games going on. So just come in with some ideas if you're interested in playing, and we'll get a game that everyone for each system wants to play.
Sounds good. So basically, you don't have to feel like you're hindered by not having that specific game. Just show up, and then you'll find someone of a common interest or a common game that you've got, and then you'll branch off into your own channel. Hopefully, we'll get the Go members, like the Fellowship, like me and Zach and CB and everybody else from the Go team, branched off, so everyone will be playing with one of us playing whatever.
Yeah, that's pretty much it right there.
All right, sounds good. Well, David, thanks so much for stopping by and explaining that. You do a much better job of it than I do.
Oh, it's all right.
All right, man. We'll catch you later. Thanks for stopping by.
All right. Thanks. Bye, guys.
All right. So that takes care of that. Let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. All right. I think there's a lot to talk about this week. New trailers. We got one for Demons Ate My Neighbors. Yes, that is a play on Zombies Ate My Neighbors, but Demons Ate My Neighbors. We also found out that Halo Infinite has been delayed until 2021. Boy, there's all kinds of controversy between Fortnite and Apple and Android. Fortnite is officially banned. We'll get into that, I'm sure. We did get a reveal. I love that we have reveals for game announcements. We don't have a reveal for the game. We have a reveal for when the reveal is going to happen for the next Batman Arkham game. Zach, where do you want to start, man?
I think we got to start with Halo.
Oh, I'm surprised.
Well,
that you want to start with Halo?
The Batman thing. Is that what you thought I would want to start with?
Yeah, that or Apple.
Well, it's just another Court of Owls teaser, which, like, at this point, it's just, we know what you're making. It's not, the tease is not fun. Yeah. I don't think it'll be an Arkham game. That's my take. I think it'll be a new continuity would be my guess.
New continuity in terms of gameplay?
No, the gameplay will probably be similar. I just think, like, in terms of story, I think it'll be the beginning of a new timeline or universe.
Gotcha.
Kind of thing.
So the whole, so no Joker at all.
I wouldn't do a Joker.
Yeah.
I think you burned Joker with the Arkham quadrilogy.
That was a lot of Joker. I mean, Joker's just, everybody's favorite, but
I'm sure Joker will pop up in the sequel to whatever this Court of Owls game is. I just don't think in the first one you will have Joker, no.
If not that, a cameo, at least.
Right, a laugh after the credits.
Oh, like a tease for he'll be in the next one.
That would be smart.
Yeah. Do you want to mention? We should say the date. August 22nd.
Oh yeah, at the 12:30, August 22nd. They're 12:30 Central Time.
Yes,
they're going to announce the game, which we already all know what it is. But that's at the DC Fandom, 24-hour streaming event extravaganza thing that they're doing.
And to be clear, that's not just video games. That's just DC in general, right?
Yeah, like their movies, TV shows, all that stuff. I think there's supposed to be some Green Lantern HBO news.
Oh,
that'd be pretty exciting.
So I should start there instead of the Ryan Reynolds fine feature film.
Yeah, you don't need to. It's not as bad as Ryan Reynolds makes it out to be, but it's not good either.
Okay.
It's perfectly fine.
So basically what we're saying is stay tuned next week because we'll probably have much more to talk about. It just still cracks me up that we have a reveal for a reveal. Next is have a reveal for a reveal for a reveal.
But they've been teasing this with images since December 2018 or whatever. Right. It's just not fun.
Yeah, I mean, I catch in your tone that you wish I hadn't have added this to the format, but
well, just because their work sweaters for their Christmas party was the Court of Owls symbol,
right?
Warner Brothers Montreal. So it's not the jig is up.
Do you think that the game will be called Court of Owls?
I would call it that. Yeah, Batman: The Court of Owls. I would probably. Yeah. I mean, it's one of the best comic storylines in Batman history.
So do you recommend me reading the comic before playing the game or doing the vice versa, playing the game and then reading the comics?
I have a hard time believing you'll read a comic.
Yeah. I've been teasing it for a couple months now.
But I think the Court of Owls, because that's when DC actually did a reboot. So there'd be very little baggage for you to just read Court of Owls.
How long are we talking? How many?
12 issues.
Oh, 12 issues is it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's, like 2 hours. I mean,
and
with that.
Yeah. It's about 10 minutes an issue. Probably.
Yeah, I think that's doable. I've been teasing with you for a while doing Marvel, but here's my thing. And I was talking about this on the Packers Fan Podcast, which I recorded today as well. I struggle sitting down and just reading something. I know that sounds super lame, but it's why I've gravitated towards audiobooks. Because I can listen to an audiobook and do something else at the same time. I can get
you feel like you're wasting time just reading?
Right. And I don't, not to say that reading is wasting time. That's not at all what I'm saying. But if I have an option to listen to it and mow the yard or fold my laundry or something, I can get something else done instead of just sitting down and focusing on just a book. With a comic book, I can't do that. You have to see what's going on.
They do. You know what? I give you the DC Universe app.
Mm-hmm.
Has a feature where it auto scrolls the comic, and you can read it on your TV too. So you could have it on your TV and do an auto. It'll automatically turn the panels for you while you're sewing.
Yeah, but I can't like not like when I have a TV show on, I'm listening to it more than I'm actually watching it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
well, I'm trying, man.
No, I know. I should just bite the bullet and just do it. I think that'd be a fun experiment for me to actually read the source material, especially with so many properties out there, video games, movies, TV shows, animated series based on comics. That would be a fun one to start with. Like that be my entry into comics and then play the game right after to have that comparison would be kind of fun. And then when you and CB start your Comics Outsider podcast, you can have me as a guest and I can, give my take.
Talk about the Court of Owls.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, I really was not trying to divert you from talking about Halo first.
Oh, yeah. Halo Infinite being delayed to fall 2021? Is that right?
They didn't say fall. They just said 2021, didn't they?
You're right. Yeah, you are correct.
Okay.
I guess to me, Halo means fall.
Right.
So I hear a delay. I'm like, oh my God, it'll fall 2021. But you're right. It's probably like a March game or something.
I think people would riot if they had to wait until fall for Halo Infinite.
I mean, as it stands, it doesn't feel bad for the Xbox Series X. It feels catastrophic for the Series X.
It does and it doesn't. I mean, on one hand, what else do they have in terms of must-haves, to play?
Right.
Which isn't even an argument because you don't have to have a Series X to play it.
I was going to say, yeah, I know Infinite's going to be on Xbox One as well, And Phil Spencer has very publicly said there will be no Series X exclusives for the first year or whatever. But I still think, the Halo fan base is the fan base that I feel like would buy the new Xbox. Even if you didn't need it for the Halo, you would want to buy it so you had the best version of Halo.
Right. The hardcore fans that is a reason to purchase the Series X, is to get the best Halo experience possible.
So without Halo Infinite, what is the point of launching in November?
I don't know. Do you think, and again, this is speculation, do you think there's any possibilities that the Xbox Series X and the PS5 don't come out this November?
I think that would be wise. We are, especially, I guess, as Americans, I'm thinking American-centric for anybody out there who's, in a country that has had less pandemic issues, we'll say. We're about to approach, an economic situation that we've not been in for some time.
Yeah, but you just said it best. We're Americans. We will find a way to get the luxury items that we quote unquote need, despite what's going on.
Feels like a bad time, in my opinion. And honestly, like without Miles Morales, there's no reason for this generation to happen at all in November.
I don't know, man. And this is coming from a guy that likes Xbox a lot. There's a lot more I'm interested on the PS5 than
right, but is any
Xbox.
of it coming out this year?
We don't know. I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn is the big one, but that's not going to be this year.
That's not going to be this year. No way. I feel like they're rushing these consoles out, and I'm not entirely sure why.
Because it's holiday season. But I'm with you. I think it would make more sense, but we're also in that standstill spot right now because, first off, neither one has announced a price.
Which to me says they're not as ready as we think they are. Or they want us to think they are.
Right. I mean, they're both kind of waiting for the first to blink at this point.
Right.
And it would be the same situation if they were going to delay the console release, because I feel both companies would feel that if they were the first to announce that, then the other would just, well, ours is coming out right now, so come get that now.
At $100 less.
Exactly. Plus, I saw, there's all kinds of rumors and stuff floating around. I saw a post, I don't think I even bothered retweeting it or anything, that someone saw the price point was $600 for the Xbox Series X, which seems crazy to me.
You can't.
Yeah, especially now.
Immediately the PR backlash will be $599 US.
Mm-hmm.
We know PlayStation consumers are willing to get a second job to afford PlayStation 3. All that rhetoric will come back.
Right. Well, let me ask you this, though, because it's interesting to me that this dropped after that Microsoft Xbox presentation where the Halo demo or Halo trailer or gameplay demo, whatever you want to call it, got so much backlash on it for how quote-unquote poor it looked. Now, I think I said this last time, I watched it on a stream that didn't feel like it was high quality, and I've been told that if you go back and watch it, on YouTube or wherever and watch it in 4K, it looks a lot better in terms of graphical fidelity. But at the same time, it still just looked like Halo, which I know is not a bad thing for a lot of people. That's just what people want.
Right.
You know what I think they could do to salvage this? And you're going to call me crazy, and I doubt it'll happen, but I would love to see Microsoft do this, is hold off the campaign, but still release the multiplayer.
The free-to-play multiplayer.
Which was going to be free-to-play. Release that in time for the holidays, so you're still getting the best experience of that. Garner up that goodwill, and then release the campaign later for $40.
Well, remember, it's going to be on Game Pass, right? So,
it's on Game Pass, yeah, but
there's no reason. I actually think what you're saying is a smart idea.
Yeah,
because you're right. Most of the audience is going to play multiplayer anyway. You know, and it's I think that's smart. And I think in multiplayer, you kind of care less what the game looks like.
You care about less what the game looks like, and even if it isn't perfect, what multiplayer game launched with no technical issues?
If people stuck with the Master Chief Collection for as long as they have, they'll wait for Infinite to get its lighting worked out.
Yeah. I mean, and that would give them data to fix things, and they're going to constantly update it, and then any polish they do on that can potentially transfer to the campaign, which, like you mentioned, not everybody's into playing the Halo campaign, especially after 5. You know, they get what they want for free, and then if you want more, now buy they don't even have to do it at $40. You could still do it at 60.
Right.
Or on Game Pass. And
yeah, I mean,
I think that's smart.
I only play Halo for the campaign, and even I like 343 has not proved to me they can handle a Halo campaign yet.
I mean, I've never just been massively in love with Halo. Like, I would rather play a Call of Duty campaign than a Halo campaign. I'm not super into the lore and the.
I was gonna say, yeah, I'm pretty much just in it for the lore.
Right.
Yeah.
I just enjoyed going around and shooting stuff, and I think the music was a big selling point in that series. I love the music swells in that game. It just feels kind of epic.
But even Marty O'Donnell's not, he's not doing the music anymore.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He went with Bungie to Destiny.
They also did say that the reason for this was, the pandemic. They did not say, hey, we listened and everybody thinks this looks like crap, so we're going to go back and let it bake in the oven for a little bit longer. I don't know what to believe. I mean, the easy answer is the pandemic. Yes, but...
Well, it could just be guys, everyone hates the way this game is looking. Look at this, it's nothing but meme images of the horrible lighting.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, we may be able to fix this in time for launch in November, but because of COVID, there's no way we're going to make this game look the way people want it to, so we have to push back.
So it's a little bit of both.
I think so. I also kind of, I don't know, man. Phil Spencer, I like that guy, but I'm not sure what his plan is.
I mean, you could say that about a lot of things going on in the past few months. I mean, just leading up to the Series X, the announcements and the releases, it just sounds like they're not trying to sell a console.
Yes, right? Like, we're not going to have exclusives. We want the multiplayer to be free to play. Our first party studios aren't going to have games ready to go for a few years. Like, what are you selling me, Phil? I like you a lot. I would buy I think you're a smart guy. I'm not sure what you're doing.
I think a lot of people feel the same way. It's weird being in this spot where I feel like I'm more apt to pick up a PS5 than a Series X, because at least there are experiences that I can't have anywhere else. I mean, there are Xbox exclusive, but I can still play them on my Xbox. I already have an Xbox One.
Yeah. What is exclusive in the launch window besides Miles Morales? Is Godfall coming out in the launch window?
I assume so. I thought Ratchet and Clank would. I assumed Ratchet and Clank would have been.
I think they already said that's 2021.
Or Crash. Did they say 2021 for Crash?
Crash is on PS4.
No, the new Crash.
Crash 4 is on PS4.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that. So yeah, I guess full circle. What's the big selling point for buying a new console?
Nothing.
I really wish that we could have a what if machine or whatever you want to call it and see what would be going on right now if the pandemic hadn't happened. Would these consoles be out already? Would we, I mean, there's just so many.
I feel like we still wouldn't have a price. You
think so?
I think so. I think you're right. I think these two companies are playing chicken with each other. Yeah.
And frankly, we're all getting sick of it.
It's
give us an answer.
It's kind of off-putting.
At some point, I just don't even want to watch a stream anymore until you tell me we're going to give details on the console and price and specs and all this. I don't care. You can only tease me so long before I'm just going to get out of the room. Yeah, about 6 or 7 more times a Court of Owls, and then you're just not going to pay attention anymore, right? See what I'm saying? Yeah. So I want to talk about this. I don't know if it's an elephant in the room, but this Fortnite thing. It does feel controversial to discuss, right? Well, yeah, because it feels like no matter what answer you say, you're either an Apple fanboy or an Android fanboy. And Twitter is that way for sure. It's like no matter what you say, I don't know. I feel if I ever mention anything about being an Apple user, I am just like trying to be, someone is trying to convert me without fail. I say anything positive or negative about an Apple product, someone is trying to proselytize me to switch to the other side.
Yes, it is very much Sega does what Nintendo don't.
Right. And it's super annoying. And you heard me last week talk about not being able to have xCloud on the App Store is one of the things that's making me consider switching over. It's that's a big deal to me. This deal though is I'm really curious to hear your take on this. So Fortnite has been banned on Apple and Android stores. And yes, you can play Fortnite on a mobile device. So here's what happened is Epic decided that they wanted to not pay Apple their cut. Apple normally takes 30% of the what are they called? V-Bucks? I don't play Fortnite, so
it is V-Bucks, yep. And not only did they not want Apple to take the cut, but they lowered the price by $2.
Right.
On their version.
They offered direct payments for this online currency, effectively bypassing Apple taking their 30% cut. So Apple immediately pulled the Fortnite app from the App Store, citing a violation of store policies. Their policy is, they have their policies. If you want something on Apple, you have to follow the rules. Epic responded immediately by filing a lawsuit alleging antitrust violations. And what was it, like a 56-page document or something like that?
Yeah, they did this on purpose, yes.
Yeah, they were anticipating it, and so they had all their ducks in a row. And then Google responded by also removing the Fortnite app from the Google Play Store, because they're trying to do the same thing. And Epic even made a parody video. Have you seen this yet?
Yes.
Called 1980 Fortnite, which is, mimicking 1984. There was a commercial that they did about, the man and blah, blah, blah. The internet is in a tizzy over this, and they can't agree on anything. Where do you land on this story?
Well, I know last week I was coming at Apple hard for the xCloud because they just lied about it. But this week, guess what? I'm on Apple's side, I guess.
I am too.
I mean, in honest truth, I'm not on either side because it's two major corporations worth billions fighting it out, and they're weaponizing their fan bases, which I think is gross. I think that little 1980 Fortnite video probably did more damage for me against Fortnite or against Epic than anything else here, because I think that's really gross.
Yeah, they're like stirring the pot.
They issued propaganda geared towards teenagers and kids. So they made propaganda for kids that help them fight the man, even though they themselves are worth billions.
Right.
They are the man.
That is a really good point.
And that's not cool.
So you've got some that hate Apple that are coming out saying Apple is getting too big for their britches and they have to be put in check and all this. And there may be some truth to that. Apple does make some decisions that are not consumer friendly. I mean, they are a business after all, but they're not super consumer friendly. But in this case, I don't see how they're the bad guy.
No, and I also don't see how it's a monopoly or antitrust violation, because it's not a monopoly. Like, you can go, there are not other storefronts on Apple phones, but then don't buy an Apple phone if you don't like that.
Right.
You go to a competitor, you go get a different phone. I don't think Apple owes to you a different place to buy things on their phone. You're not going to the PlayStation 4 expecting to download the Epic Games store. You go to the PlayStation store.
Right.
Is that also a monopoly then?
According to Epic, although they don't care because it doesn't involve them.
But Sony does take a 30% cut.
Right.
So I think Epic's I think Epic just wants more of the cut, honestly, is what it sounds like.
So they're just going after the bigger fish first, is what you're saying?
I really don't.
Well, because they go for the bigger fish. If they were somehow able to come out ahead in this lawsuit and win against Apple, then the others would be a no-brainer.
Yeah, and I will say brief points for Epic. They do say that in their lawsuit or whatever, that getting a special percentage for them would be unacceptable. Like if Apple was like, okay, fine, we'll only take 10% of your cut, they're saying that would be unacceptable because they want it for all developers or whatever.
Oh, so they're playing the "we're doing this for everybody" card.
Yes, which rings false when A, you do child-based propaganda, and B, you're the most popular video game. You know, you're one of the most popular video games of all time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I have a hard time thinking you're fighting the man here.
Honest question, though. I don't know the numbers. I don't have the numbers in front of me. How many people play these games on mobile?
I could have swore I'd read that iPhone was the biggest player base for Fortnite.
Like even bigger than PC or console?
I could have swore. I mean, I'm almost assuredly wrong. But I think...
again, I'm only going off of the limited view or lens that I have of the kids that attend the school where I teach. And they're all playing on Xbox or PS4. Every single one of them. I've never, some kids bring a tablet to play Minecraft on at basketball games and stuff while their older brothers are playing or whatever. I've never once sat there and seen a kid playing Fortnite on a mobile device.
I was going to say, working in a cafe, usually it's the parents, talking to each other and the kids are on their iPad playing Fortnite.
Oh, okay. I've never seen it. So again, that's just my limited scope.
You work with kids. So
you'd think that my scope would be relative to the majority, but apparently that's not the case.
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I could be wrong. I could have swore I read that. But
So how do you see this thing ending? Like, is this going to be, do you think Apple's going to roll over? Or is there going to be, is this game just done being on mobile devices? And what effect is that going to have for other mobile games in the future?
I mean, if I gotta tell you, if I was another Battle Royale game on mobile right now, I'd be pushing ads hard.
Yeah, that's a really good point. But they could just sell them like crazy because nobody else on mobile is playing Fortnite right now, so they want to play something else.
They want to do something. How does it end? I don't know, man. It's hard to get too involved when it's like these two people doing like a dick measuring contest, for... I don't know. It just sucks. And like, I get, they're saying they're doing it for developers, but it really hurts players.
Yeah. I mean, if the number is as big as you're saying that can no longer play on mobile, that's who that's hurting the most right now.
I think they can still play until another update comes out. Because I think you still technically own it. You just can't buy any V-Bucks right now.
Right. I think the new date is the 28th of August, according to a tweet I read today that said that they are. Oh, by the way, I retweeted that and somebody on Twitter called me a Chinese spy.
There you go.
I still am trying to wrap my head around what that means. How I'm a Chinese spy for retweeting. Yeah. Anyway,
you're helping out Tencent, I guess.
Apparently, but it's hard not to look at. For me, it's hard not to look at Epic as the bad guy. But just as many people are sitting here cheering on Epic because they want it. It's always the big guy that people are trying to knock off a totem pole.
Right.
I understand not all their practices are great. They don't do a lot of awesome things for their consumers, but it's a business.
They kept the FBI out of that dude's phone that one time. That was cool.
Oh, the bomber?
Yeah.
Or the terrorist guy that they wouldn't let him? Yeah.
I appreciated that. But yeah, I don't know. Everything about this just sucks.
Yep. So stay tuned for more. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more talk of that in the coming weeks, but I want to see how that pans out for sure. Let's go ahead and move on with some quick housekeeping. Just as a reminder, we are an independently funded podcast, which means that we do pay for our podcast hosting services, website, all that on our own, with help from you guys, the community. That's why we have a Patreon page where fans can help us out, contribute monthly to help offset those costs, as well as allow us to give back to the community. Which reminds me, we got to do a giveaway for the month of August. We haven't done one yet.
Ooh.
Have we? Or did we?
I don't know. I trust you to know these things.
Oh, man. I have to go back. Was Tsushima July or August?
That was July.
July? So, we got to give one away for August then. Stay tuned for that. But if you'd like to help out, you can do so at patreon.com/thegocast. We've got tiers. $3 a month will give you an extra bonus episode per month. $5 a month will give you 2 bonus episodes. And then there's higher tiers that give you some coupons on our Go Shop and all that as well. We've got a new episode It's recorded. It should hopefully will be released sometime this week. It's the Drunken Game Trivia. I believe it was CB and Jordan going head-to-head. Jordan Derringer high. Spencer was asking questions. I have been given inside knowledge as to who won that competition, but I will not tell you. You will have to listen to find out who was the champion of Drunken Video Game Trivia.
Oh,
so stay tuned for that. And then also, Zach, you're doing a spoiler cast with Nate Wilcox on Ghost of Tsushima in the near future.
Yeah,
right?
That's the idea.
So stay tuned for that. Again, the website, if you'd like to get more on that, is patreon.com/thegocast. Let's go ahead and move on to the games we've been playing. A little shorter list this week, Zach. What's coming out next week?
All right, man. Yeah, a little bit easier. The grand return of Microsoft Flight Simulator hits PC August 18th.
Just PC. That makes me so PC. Mad.
Maybe one day. It looks gorgeous, though.
It does look gorgeous. I just want to like get on Game Pass so I can fly over my house.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Brand new Souls-like Mortal Shell comes to PS4, Xbox One, PC August 18th. I'll be talking about that in a bit. This Scott Clark, man, Rogue Legacy 2 coming to PC August 18th.
Yeah.
Are you gonna play that even though it's PC?
I don't know. It depends on if it's on Mac, because I don't have a PC to run it on. I was actually trying to look that up while you were going through here, because I have to play that game so badly, and I don't know. It's only on PC.
You get to build your own castle.
Well, you got to build your own castle in the. Oh, you mean like your actual own like dungeon, like
yeah, like a little hub area. Yeah.
I mean, the first one had a castle you built.
Oh,
as you went along, it unlocked. Okay. It was like basically your skill tree.
Oh, my bad.
That makes me angry that it's only PC, because I don't have anything to play it on.
Well, that's what I get for being on Mac.
Yeah, I know. There it is. You're trying to proselytize me too, huh?
Yeah, even though I only have Macs.
Which is weird, because the original Rogue Legacy is on Mac.
But did it launch on Mac?
I don't know.
I would think if I was making Rogue Legacy 2, I'd put it on everything on day one.
With how popular that game was? Yes.
Exactly, yes.
So sadly, I will probably be waiting.
That's sad to hear. In terms of Microsoft reboots, Battletoads also coming to Xbox One and PC August 20th. We'll be stoked about that. And
I will not be waiting for that one. That one I will play.
Yes, that's... Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's on Game Pass.
And then I only put this game on the format because I wanted you to watch the trailer, so I really hope you watched it. If not, you're big heart. It's Alcona 4 Rhythms Across the Blue. Going to PS4 and Switch August 21st. This game looks patently ridiculous.
I did not watch this, so you're going to have to tell me why it looks patently ridiculous.
These it's like 4 girls, and they're like singing, and it looks kind of like a visual novel, and then they're like at a beach, and all of a sudden they whip out machine guns.
Whoa!
And then they're flying like robot ladies. I had no idea what was happening, and I still don't. It looks wild.
I mean, the title 4 Rhythms Across the Blue makes me think it's a rhythm game of some kind.
Yes, but I don't know why they like cut to like a beach scene, and they're all like in swimsuits. I'm like, oh yes, of course, anime girls in swimsuits. That is a requirement. Mm-hmm. Yep. And they all have then they're all armed to the gills with weaponry. I had no idea what was happening. Strange. Well, anyway, new Super Lucky's Tale, which I think is an Xbox game, right?
Well, Lucky's Tale was an Xbox game.
Right.
New Super Lucky's Tale came to Switch, which was like a different version of it, or a new game.
I thought it, but is it a Microsoft Game Studio game?
The original one was.
Okay.
But I think the new, I have to ask Nate, because Nate actually reviewed the Switch version of this for us back when it released, and you can find that on our website, thegamingoutsider.com.
Nice.
But this is that game coming to PS4 and Xbox One.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it's to me it looks like a Microsoft game on PS4 and Xbox One August 21st.
Yeah,
I guess Minecraft already is. It's just weird every time it happens.
It is.
And then PGA Tour 2K21 coming to PS4, Xbox One, PC, and get this, Stadia still kicking along. And that's also
with a PGA Tour game.
They gotta take what they can get on Stadia.
True.
So anything jumping out at you? I can tell you what you should get.
Well, if yeah, Well, if Rogue Legacy 2 were on console or Mac, I would be playing that for sure. But I will definitely be playing Battletoads, if nothing else, to see how frustrated I get with speed bikes. Because that was the bane of my existence in the original games for sure.
They make such a big point of those turbo bikes in the trailer, too.
They do. I mean, that was a big thing, even though it was only like 2 levels.
I remember because people hated it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they had a Level and Conquer that was like a 3D version of it.
And that looks like what they're doing with this one, too. It's behind the bike instead of the side view like the other one was. What impresses me the most about that trailer is how much the cinematics look the same to the gameplay. Like, it never seems to transition.
It made me go like, I'd watch a Battletoads show, sure.
Yeah. I mean, especially if I was a kid. Like, that would be a cartoon I would have to watch.
What are the names? Zit, Wart, and Pimple, is that right?
Zits, Rash, and Pimple.
Rash, okay.
Yeah. And they were so cool, man. The pause screen alone.
They're radical dudes, you could say.
Ooh. But anyway, that's next week. This week, Zach, you got your hands on Mortal Shell on PS4, and we got to give a shout out to Evolve PR for hooking you up with a review copy of this one. You have been talking to me about this one over text, both raving about the game and cursing its name at the same time.
Right.
So talk to me about Mortal Shell. What can you tell me other than it is a Souls-like, which I know you love that term.
Well, it is, yeah, it is Souls-like. I do hate that name for the genre. I really hope to God we come up with something better, but I don't think we will because we were just lazy in the modern era with genre names. This game is awesome.
Awesome.
Love it. Love it to death. Cold Symmetry is a developer. 15 people made this game. I just want to say that at the top because that's impressive as hell.
And it's only a $30 title.
They're getting robbed. They're letting themselves get robbed at that price.
I'm really shocked by that because you told me, about 20 hours?
Yeah, so I think it'd be in like 16 and a half hours, something like that. 16, 17.
And, I mean, that's a decently sized game.
Well, I know I missed things because, okay, yeah, it's very much like Dark Souls in that it gives you no real sense of direction.
Mm-hmm.
So you can miss areas. Like in Dark Souls, you can miss like a whole, 3-hour area just because you didn't turn left or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I'm missing things because there's a weapon that's in the pause, like in the loading screens. They give you like item descriptions, and they keep talking about this weapon called the Ballistazuka, which looks like a ballista that you shoulder fire like a rocket launcher. It looks rad, but I didn't find that at all in my play. And then I know there's a merchant in the game, but I beat the whole game without a merchant.
Wow.
Because I did not find
nuts.
him. I couldn't find him, man. And there's a trophy for petting his pet cat, and I'm sad I did not pet the cat.
So isn't there a website like Can You Pet the Cat? Or Can You Pet the Dog?
Yeah, Can You Pet the Dog? Yeah, they better feature this, man. So you can pet the cat.
But good luck getting there.
So what I'm saying is, it was under 20 hours, but maybe I missed some stuff, maybe I didn't. I mean, I really appreciated that it was a condensed experience because it feels like every game that tries to do something in this genre has to be at least 50 hours. And I don't think you need to do that all the time.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, it's there's no question these people were going after Dark Souls. It's got the same kind of almost visual flair to it where everything just kind of looks dreary and macabre.
Right.
As it were. The game is very visually striking though, so I appreciate that. And
does it look like a $30 game though?
No, absolutely not.
That's I'm just still blown away by
I couldn't believe it. I thought it was a $60 game the whole time I played it. Like it runs.
I mean, unless I've misread, I will go.
No, you're right. I had to look it up. I looked it up on Twitter. The developers plenty of people were like, "Hey, what's the price?" And the developer just kept $30.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I hope that this starts spawning some
more mid-tier games.
Yeah,
I would have happily paid. Like, if I had to pay $60 for this game, I would be thrilled. Like, it was great.
Beautiful. So what sets this one apart from Dark Souls and Bloodborne and other games in this genre?
Right. So right up front, I just assumed it was just going to be Dark Souls because, it has a similar look and the UI is even very similar to Dark Souls.
Okay.
And you can't pause like in Dark Souls.
Even at a campfire, isn't it not safe?
You don't. Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's bonfires in Dark Souls, but here it's this woman called Sester Ganessa. But it is safe when you get to her. I mean, enemies can attack you there, but if you talk to her and heal, it resets the enemies, so you'll be safe there.
Gotcha. Okay.
But what sets it apart is the main hook is you play as this like wraith type creature called the Foundling, and you possess the bodies of people. And when you do this, it like it's basically the game's versions of classes. You know, like one character might be a little bit faster, or one guy might be a little bit heavier. But what really sets it apart from there is that in order to start leveling up each of these characters, you have to discover their name. So you have to like get to know who they were in order to level up.
Discover their name, like find it in the environment, or you have to like go do lore digging?
That's what I thought for about 3 hours, but actually you can just, your first level up is learning their name.
Okay.
But what you do is you like get more in tune with the bodies you're inhabiting.
Uh-huh.
And you learn more, like every time you level up, because it's got like a skill tree. It does not have like points-based attributes like strength, dexterity, and speed, like stuff like that. It's all these very useful skills. But every time you learn one, the character you're playing as, tells you a sentence about their life, basically.
Oh, okay.
So by the time you've learned all the skills they had in their life, you know like who they were, basically.
So these are people that are dead that you were assuming their bodies?
Yeah, these were, like, my favorite character was Solomon the Scholar.
Okay.
So I found him like slumped over, against a tree or whatever, wherever he was, and it possessed him. And he had a lot of resolve, which lets you like parry and do special attacks. So that's why I took to him. But the more you learned about him, you learn like he was like peering into other timelines and dimensions and stuff. He was like really like experimenting with things. And then there's another character you meet who knew Solomon. So he kind of tells you a little bit about him as well.
So is this stuff told in like text that you read, or
it's all voiced? It's all voiced.
So like it plays while you're walking around?
So the level up dialogue is you pick your skill, and then it just like flashes a screen that like very stylistically puts text on the screen while it's being read to you.
Oh, okay.
It's not like cutscenes or anything. I mean, now that I think there's 2 cutscenes in the game.
Gotcha.
But it's mostly just you talking to NPCs. But it's cool when they recognize you, because it's like a reminder, like, oh man, yeah, that's right, I'm playing. They went a little bit deeper. It could have just been a class system, but they really incorporated your character into the lore.
So you actually run into real characters that knew the character you are inhabiting, and they interact with you as if you were still that character alive.
Yeah, well, they'll do it at first, and like eventually they'll learn the jig is up.
Ah, okay.
And that's cool.
That is a clever way to do different classes, though. You just take on a different character.
Yeah, and it was cool having the story incorporated into leveling up, because as you know in a Souls-like, right, your experience points are so precious, because if you die, that you lose them and you have to do a corpse run, right, to get them back. And then if you die before that, then you have no souls experience. Or in this game, it's called tar, but it's same function. But it made it more precious to me, because when I was viewing it, it wasn't, oh, there goes the ground pound ability. It was like, there goes the ground pound ability, and also learning something new about Solomon.
Oh, so you're actually losing the entire skill, not just so you actually can lose the skill itself. No,
I guess maybe I misspoke.
Okay.
So like when you have to spend the tar in order to get skills, right?
Right.
So when you die and I lose the tar, like, I'll be like, darn, there goes the tar I would have spent on a ground pound.
Oh, okay.
But also there goes a piece of story if I don't get it back.
And you were just as intrigued to finish out that character's story as you were to get the next skill that you wanted.
Exactly. So weave the narrative into an important piece of gameplay. I thought that was, a chef's kiss to the developer on that one.
This sounds like a game that was made for you, man, because I know you love the Dark Souls games.
Yes, I love.
I know you had like a love-hate relationship with Sekiro, but you still enjoy that game at moments.
Yeah, this is, what roguelikes are to you, Souls-like are to me. Like I could just eat this genre up.
Especially when they incorporate interesting characters and backstories.
Yes.
That you just really want to. That just sounds right up your alley.
And like in terms of narrative and atmosphere and stuff, it kind of combines Dark Souls with Bloodborne,
Mm-hmm.
and it was freaking cool. Like
That's awesome, man.
It was just smart, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot more to. The big combat hook is hardening, which up front is just going to sound a lot like a block because your character can turn to stone by just pulling the left trigger.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do that, yeah, you can like block a hit, which sure sounds like defense, but what the hook is, you can do it in the middle of any animation. So you can do it, in the middle of a jump. You can do it, and you'll say suspended in the air, or you can do it in the middle of a swing of your sword. So what you can do is like you can start swinging your sword, right, and then harden, and now you're going to be able to take a hit. But while the enemy is trying to stab you, not only are they not going to be able to hit you, but now they just run themselves into your sword. So you've done damage while also blocking one of their attacks.
Now, when you release or unharden, what's the term? Is it unharden?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Yeah, when you soften up,
does that animation keep moving? Like if you were swinging,
yes.
Can you time it so that the harden releases and that swing is still there and attacks?
One of my favorite things to do was I would sprint and do like this jumping attack. Uh-huh. You bring. My favorite weapon was a hammer and chisel, which is a very unusual weapon for video games, but it was freaking awesome. But I would like run at people, do this lunging attack, be in midair, freeze. They would come up to me and try to hit me, then their attack would ricochet off, and then my hammer comes smashing down on them.
That's really cool. I'm perplexed by that. That sounds like it doesn't sound like the game would be as hard as you're making it sound out to be.
Well, it is on a cooldown. So you can't just immediately do it again.
Gotcha.
But it is, it's like a cooldown like 5 seconds, which if you think, in terms of a combat encounter that lasts 15, that's pretty precious.
Right.
And especially in this genre where, you're going to hit one with a sword and there goes a third of your health.
Right.
And this game does not have healing items.
At all?
So if you play Dark Souls, or Bloodborne, you're going to be familiar with Estus flasks.
Mm-hmm.
And what that is, like, in between each checkpoint, you have 5 healing opportunities, basically.
Right. I remember that from Bloodborne.
Okay, yeah. So, but this game does not have that item. So you can find these mushrooms that can heal you, but they only heal 30 hit points, and they take 30 seconds to work. Like, it was not a viable option in combat. None of the healing is really going to work for you in combat, really.
Because you have to get from A to B without taking any damage.
Right, but where at first, I'm incredibly frustrated by this. Before you learn the hardening. But what the game does is, when you lose all of your health the first time, you get rended from your mortal shell, which is the corpse you're inhabiting. Right. So you get knocked out and your wraith form again or whatever. When that happens, you have like a second or two to try to jump back into your shell without getting hit, because you have so little health, you're going to die in one hit.
Right. As
a wraith. But you get back to your body, then you have a second life. And you can do that one time per checkpoint.
Oh, that's interesting. It's like a completely different take on it.
Yeah, it's very different take, and it's helpful during bosses because if you do die twice, so your tar is stuck with your corpse or whatever, when you collect that tar, it's also another full heal. So you can kind of get 2 full heals per combat run on a boss.
If you play your cards right. I like it.
Yeah, which, if you played Fallen Order, when you like attack that one enemy and got all your health back, who killed you, it's a little bit like that. So you can kind of weave it into the boss, fight.
So itself. Dying becomes a strategy.
Yes, exactly.
Huh.
I would just anticipate dying the first time and be like, where's a good place to leave my corpse so I know where to get a good heal when I come back.
That's interesting. It sounds like you love this game. Is there any negatives?
The only real negative, I think, is, so, as you know, I was texting you. So I went to definitely the hardest area of the game first.
Inadvertently, I assume.
Yeah, and inadvertently, it's just the goal of the game is to go into like these 3 different, we'll call them temples, for lack of a better term, to get an item. And I definitely went to the one, because you go to them in your order. I definitely went to the one that's hardest. And not only did I mess up there, but I found out later there were 2 save points closer to the boss that I just missed, because that's the genre, right? Like, you could just miss things.
Right.
So not only was I in the hardest area, still learning how to fight, that so like I was really struggle busing it. You know, I was messaging you. I was like, this might be the meanest game I've ever played. And
those are the exact words, people. This is the meanest game I've ever played. I
still stand by that. I think overall it's easier than Dark Souls or Bloodborne once you figure it out. But I think the learning ramp is much steeper. But once you get it, I think you get it. Either that or it just, worked for me or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I went to this first area and I fought this boss, and he's unbelievably hard. And to enter the area, you have to lose most of your health just to enter the room. Because in order to enter the room, you have a huge drop. So like that was brutal. On top of that, so you basically you're going to get rendered from your shell almost immediately, right? So you have to do it on 1 life instead of 2, like you would all the rest of the bosses. So I did that guy, banged my head against the wall fighting him, did this obnoxious 5-minute sprint to the boss room every time I died. But I beat him. But because of that, I felt like every boss after that was just kind of easy and almost a bit of a letdown because they're so easy.
Right.
So that's my only real critique, is that I expect in this genre to spend 2 or 3 hours on every boss.
Right. Just you kind of broke the game, though, for yourself because you started it difficult.
Yeah, so after that...
I get the impression that with a game like this, you don't want a notification that says, you're under-leveled for this. Because you want as little information as possible in the Souls-like, right?
Yes, it would be disappointing if it said that for sure.
Right.
I should have known, just because I don't want to spoil it. It just looks visually different than any other area in the entire game. Mm-hmm. So it should have been a bit of an indication. I knew. I was like, I don't think I'm supposed to be here yet. But I also didn't know.
Still pushed on.
But I didn't know where else to go in the overworld. So I was like, screw it. I guess I'll just keep doing this. And I'm also just stubborn in these games. It's it's a point of pride. I'm like, I gotta beat these guys.
Right.
Now that I know where the boss is, I can't turn away from the boss. That'd be absurd. And then, but I pushed past that, and then I started learning how to incorporate hardening in with the dodge rolling. And I found Solomon, who I liked, and then I found that hammer and chisel. Man, the hammer and chisel changed the game for me, just because it attacks so much faster. Mm-hmm. And started mastering the parry system. And once all these things are intermingling, the hardening, the dodging, the weapon skills, and even honestly the fact that there weren't healing items, just makes you feel so adept at video game combat all of a sudden. And the combat just started to sing, man. It was just a beautiful ballet of death that I was doing, where it was just great. And while you're hardening, your stamina can get back too, so you can kind of plan is this I could do 4 hits and then maybe out of stamina I could dodge roll away, or what if I harden because this guy's been staggered, so now he can hit me and I get my stamina back, do some more damage. There's just so much to be thinking of every millisecond in this game during combat, that you always have to be on your best. You always have to be thinking about what you're doing, and I just loved it, man.
I wish everybody could see the smile on your face that I'm seeing right now. Because you don't get this excited about games as often as a dork like me does. You're as close to giddy as I've ever seen you talking about it.
Yeah, it's such an amazing game. I like it a lot. It's
awesome. Good to hear. That is Mortal Shell from Cold Symmetry, and it's not only PS4. It's also on Xbox and PC.
Right. Yep. And they're $30. It's digital only. They are doing a physical edition later this year. So if anybody's looking for a Christmas gift idea for me, think about that. Because I love this game.
Very cool, man.
But speaking, hey, we talked about my genre. Well, I guess Undermine. You've played yet another roguelike on Xbox One?
I have. I actually didn't even know this came out. I was reminded by Drew Ross over on Discord, who said, "Hey, Scott, you love roguelikes," and he heard me talking about a couple others last week, like Hammer, a couple other ones I've been playing that I didn't like as much, although I did like Neon Abyss. And he said, Undermine is one you got to play because it never feels like a run is wasted, which is what I like to hear.
Yes.
I just got done talking about how I don't like to waste time reading a book, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't
Hey, you could listen to an audiobook while you play a roguelike, though.
Exactly. So yeah, I gave Undermine a shot. Literally knew nothing about it, and it is my kind of roguelike. It is a dungeon crawler, randomly generated, but it plays it's like Binding of Isaac in terms of there's four walls or four doors in each room, or maybe four walls. There's bombs to open up different doors, but the catch with this one is that it's an underground mine, and you are constantly entering this mine to try to investigate where all these earthquakes are happening, and you actually mine gold that you find scattered around. And the twist with this one is that when you mine that gold, there are these little critters that try to grab that gold on the ground before you do. And if they get it, then you're out that gold. That's part of it. This one feels a little more methodical than something like a Binding of Isaac or even Rogue Legacy. Rogue Legacy, I feel like whenever I played it, I just kind of just ran and just meleeed my way through here. I have to be very, very careful with this one because hits really matter.
Okay.
On this one, but it's the same formula. There's a weapon on each floor that you can get to that will it's like randomized and will make your life easier. I felt like they were a little bit more interesting in terms of like they thought of new ways to tweak the formula to make each run interesting. Where Binding of Isaac, I think I mentioned this last week too, Binding of Isaac just felt like throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. Just like the weirdest, most random.
Just like the poop that's often in the game. You just throw it at the wall, see what sticks.
Binding of Isaac overwhelms me with the number of possibilities, like the sheer number of combinations that had to exist with that, or have to be near limitless. But in this one, they feel more deliberate. They feel not as varied. There are none of them feel like they break the game, but I like it. If you miss a run, you go back and you cash in your gold to up some stats, but it's not like just a plus 1% or whatever. Like I know you don't like.
Yeah,
this will be like you got 20 more hit points. Okay. You're doing 20 more damage.
So substantial upgrades.
There's substantial upgrades. They're probably about the same, but they get more expensive. Like the first time you get one, it's 50 coin or 50 gold to unlock, and then the next time it's 200, and then the next time it's 800, and you know what I mean?
Right.
They go exponentially, which is the way it should.
Yeah.
And then you get some other items. There are some permanent upgrades. Like one of the early ones I got was like a pair of spectacles that actually show like how many hit points each enemy has, so you can see how much damage you're doing and how much more to take them down. There's one that actually collects gold from afar. These are permanent upgrades. And then you find and rescue people in the mines that open up a shop in your hub where you can like upgrade your bombs, and you can purchase potions and things like that. So there's the game is constantly evolving. It's a solid roguelike. The art style feels bright and colorful.
That's what I was taken by the most. It kind of looked like a cheery roguelike.
Yeah, it really does. There's not a lot of dark things going on, and I really appreciate that. There are 5, according to the the obligatory stone that has 5 stones in it that you get by defeating a boss. There's 5 of them. I've beaten 1 boss.
Okay,
I'm not super far, but
have you been playing it long, or just a few hours?
I've probably put about 5 or 6 hours into it.
Okay, that's a meaty game.
And but I also play games like this a little bit different. Sometimes I feel like I'm not playing it quick. Especially when this one where like every hit really matters. I tend to tread delicately, and and then when I'm dead, I just mop up and start over again. So I'm really digging it. So Drew, thank you for the recommendation. I actually had it on my radar months ago, and somehow lost track of it and didn't realize it was coming to Game Pass. And I'm glad you brought it up, because between that and Neon Abyss, we're looking at 2 in my top 10 as of right now.
Wow.
So I like Undermine a lot, but I'm not trying to oversell it or undersell it. It doesn't do a whole lot new to the formula. It's just more of what I like, with some minor tweaks, if that makes sense.
Yeah, man. Wow. All right. I'm happy to hear that you're digging Undermine.
Like
that.
I see what you did there. I see what you did.
Yeah.
All right. As far as other games, I also finally dove into Fall Guys this week.
Yeah. Okay.
My God.
You like
that game is so much fun. I cannot wait to play that with people, because my wife was on vacation this week. So we played some games together, including one I'll talk about in a second. But when we got tired of that, she said, "Well, why don't you play your new one?" And I thought it was going to be couch co-op. That's the one thing that sucks. You can't do like a split screen and have her do one and have me do one and us play together.
Sure. Or the idea, didn't even cross my mind that would be a problem.
I just assumed that it was a thing, and I sat down, I got her a controller and got it all synced up, and we're doing this, and then it's only you can only play one person per console.
That feels like a Scott problem.
Yeah. But anyway, she and I were laughing so hard. Like, she was like cheering me on and laughing when I do something stupid and fall over, and some of the games are just so ridiculous. I heard somebody else say this on a podcast that I listened to, and I can't stress it enough. Even if you don't have PlayStation Plus, go get you the 7-day trial or whatever. Download this game to see if you like it. I feel confident that you will want to keep your subscription going to keep playing this game for at least a month. It is that fun.
I mean, the game is definitely worth $10. I
think it's 20. Actually,
well, I'm saying if you had PlayStation Plus,
oh yeah,
that's only $10 a month. Like, it's definitely worth getting a month of PlayStation Plus.
Plus, you get Modern Warfare 2 with that too. So
that's a very good point. Then that's
for $10.
One of the best shooter campaigns I can think of.
Oh man, I've actually been really looking forward to playing through that again.
Yeah, same.
My one thing with this game is I hate.
Don't say Slime Climb.
Team games.
Oh yeah.
I do not like it because I feel like I don't have a whole lot of say in that.
I hate the egg minigame.
The egg one doesn't bother me as much, but I've also never lost it, so I can't I feel like that. But like the soccer one,
oh yeah, soccer one almost feels like chance.
It does, and then you never know what strategy to do. Do we go on offense or do we go and fight the other team's ball? You can't communicate with anybody that's not in your squad. There's not even like any kind of emojis or anything, so you just kind of just do whatever, which is part of the fun of the chaos of the game.
Yeah, I think that's intentional to keep the manic nature of the game alive.
Yeah, it's so good. I have not gotten a W yet, but I have consistently.
I got one. I won once.
Did you? What was what was the final game that you won on?
It was like a tail thing. The last person with the tail won the match.
I have still not gotten any tail games. Not once. Yeah? Never.
Weird.
The one I almost won was it was the spinny one where like there's a bar you have to jump over the bar.
Yeah.
And then there's a bar you go under. I've gotten that one more than any other, and I was down to the last two.
Was that was a final round?
Final round.
Oh, yeah. I've never had that as a final round.
It's crazy. I do like the hexagon one. Have you seen the hexagon one?
Hexagon.
I feel like I felt like I was doing really good at that one because it felt like a game of Cubert to me. Like you just try to go in a straight line and then do another straight line and you're just trying to do this until someone comes and jacks it up. And then I just hit an unlucky fall through, and then there was already a hole below where I was and a hole below that. But
I like that. I like that mode a lot.
I want to play this with people just because I feel like it's going to be hilarious. Number one, I'm not just going to give up after I'm out because I don't have any ownership with anybody in the game. I don't know anybody. But if I'm out and I can still watch somebody else and like cheer them on and just laugh at it's just so good.
It's almost as much fun to watch as play. Like, it's so ridiculous.
Right. But it would be more fun to watch if it was somebody I knew.
Yeah. Can you squad up to make sure you guys get in the same games?
Yes. You can do 4 in a squad.
Nice.
From what I'm being told.
Okay.
So I have a feeling that's what I want to play on community game night, which you're coming to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to get some Fall Guys going because that game is just too funny. Like, just even my wife was having fun watching and she wasn't playing at all. I even offered to, hey, why don't you give it a try? Because it's not like it's a super difficult game. It's, it's a joystick and a button.
You know what I do want to address how these developers racist towards invert white players.
Yeah, why is that? It works. You can invert on PC, but you can't invert on console.
Now I'm infuriated.
Yeah,
there's no reason for this.
No, they are patching it. They have been patching it. So hopefully that is one thing they will be patching because it's really annoying to press forward to look up. It just feels wrong.
Natural. Yeah, and then I was jumping between that and Mortal Shell, and camera was just all over the place for me.
I believe it. So yeah, Fall Guys is going to happen. I don't care if it's even on community game. I want to get some of that going on with some
yeah,
people.
man. I want to play with you, man.
Let's do it. Wednesday night?
Oh, like just the two of us?
No. We'll get some more people. You want to play Wednesday night?
No, I think we're recording that Ghost episode.
Oh yeah. How about Thursday night?
That seems more possible. We'll see.
Right, well, let's table it.
Yeah.
See what we can make happen.
Yeah, people don't need to see how the sausage gets made. This is exactly. This is the room where it happens. Come on.
The other game, I was looking for something to do with my wife because with everything going on, we couldn't travel, we couldn't go out to restaurants and all that.
Why are you guys being so romantic?
We did actually set up. We took out one of my big screen TVs and put it out on the deck. We bought new deck chairs. So we set up the TV and we're watching a lot of movies outside on the deck, with little candles and stuff. That was pretty cool.
I like that.
Rewatched Inside Man. That was a fun. I should really like that movie.
Inside Man?
Yeah, Denzel Washington.
Oh, wow.
Clive Owen.
Like a mid-2000s movie or something?
Yep, 2004.
Okay,
2006. Wow. Anyway, but I said, hey, I got this game we've never played together. Why don't we play Overcooked?
Oh, so you're trying to get a divorce?
Well, for the first round, yeah, it was close, but we overcame. We got through some levels. We were starting to 3-star stuff, and then my wife the next day, we were up watching TV or something, and she's like, "We have to play more Overcooked." I was dreaming about making hamburgers in my sleep last night. I can't stop thinking about it. Can we play Overcooked again? I'm like, sure. So we did. Fought a little less. Started coordinating, and we started doing you've played it, right?
Yeah.
We started doing let's stop and look at the map. Let's come up with a strategy. Okay, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to grab the meat, and I'm going to pass it to you. And while you're doing that, you pass me the plates, and then that gives you time to put the meat on the grill. I'll start putting the buns on the plate. We had this whole strategy, and it started working. And it was really good. And I thought, oh, that was fun. It was really cool. Next day, same thing. She's like, I dreamt again about hamburgers. We've got to play the Overcooked again. 4 nights in a row, we played Overcooked. That's the most video games I've played with my wife in years.
Wow, your wife is an Overcooked addict.
Yeah, and she's still, until I got frustrated with this stupid level.
I can see the anger. I can see the blood boiling in your face.
I was like rage quitting because I cannot figure out a strategy because it's a level that moves the stoves. It's like a ghost haunted house or whatever, so they just randomly lift up whatever and rotate it. And if you don't pay attention, you can either get locked in or keep yourself locked out of one section that is to the cutter or, to the supply of vegetables or whatever. And then you're sitting there waiting for 30 seconds for something to unlock because you can't do anything else. And that drives me crazy. But we're on the second to the last world. So we're actually one world away from beating the game, which I really want to do. I just hate that stupid level. Also, screw rats. There's this one level that's got rats. That level drives me bonkers.
I didn't really like the game, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You have to play Overcooked with the right person.
Sure.
Like it's someone that's willing to sit there and work out a strategy, not just mess around and experiment. Like you cannot succeed in that game unless you work together. I feel like the ramp up is too quick in that game though. Like the difficulty, it ramps up way too fast.
Yeah, I believe that.
I feel like if they started that out a little bit easier. So anyway, that's what I've been catching up on. Anything you've been catching up on, or has it been all Mortal Shell?
I spent the second weekend with the Avengers beta. Got into his multiplayer a little bit more.
Yeah,
that game's not good. I know.
Bummer.
Still gonna buy it because I'm a fool.
The game's not good, but I'm gonna buy it.
The story, there's some story bits that seem nice, especially between Miss Marvel and Hulk. But yeah, man, I mean, it's pretty much everything I hate about video games. It's like loot driven. It's all about finding 34 power gauntlet instead of 33 power gauntlet with a 5% cooldown rate. That's stuff that I just don't care about. And then on top
strictly
of it,
because it has Marvel on it. Like if this were,
if this didn't have Iron Man in it, I would have no interest at all.
Right.
Yeah, and you know what? I finally figured out what it feels like to me. It feels like when they used to do movie tie-in games.
Oh, like old school, like third party.
That's the quality level it feels like.
Wow, and this is Square. Is it Square Enix?
It's Crystal Dynamics, yeah, and Square Enix.
Yeah,
it's not. I want to root for it because, yeah, it's got that Marvel license. You know, I love superheroes to death, but yeah, man, I'm not excited. I'm not really. It's such a weird experience to be like, I'm not excited for this game at all. I'm gonna buy it. But it reminds me of Destiny at launch, which is not a ringing endorsement. I promise you.
Do you think it'll improve like Destiny did with their DLC packs?
It is. I mean, it's possible, of course. You know, they said they're going to support this game for years to come. There's a huge leak of like the next 15 characters got leaked online.
Right.
Which is funny. But it's just like, do you remember like the worst missions in Destiny where you would just run up to a console, push a button, then fight a wave of enemies, and then you go to the, you know, a different
like horde mode,
and you go to a different console and then do the exact same thing.
Right.
That's been almost every level of Avengers. And it just
that's unfortunate.
And the combat is just like monotonous, and like I talked last week, you're just waiting for the cooldowns for your abilities, and then
but you know what? Look how popular Destiny is.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
You're not a fan of it, but a lot of people love that formula, and you throw in the Marvel characters.
Well, that's exactly right.
I feel like it's going to be successful.
Every website in the world could tell you that this game was a 4 out of 10, but it's got Avengers in the title.
Yep.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
This game
but even Destiny launched that way. Even Destiny launched that way, and people are still play it and do the raids and do the dailies and everything
right
religiously. So,
and they did even at launch. I remember so many friends of mine be like, "Yeah, I still play Destiny. Not sure why, but I do."
Right.
You know, like that was such a common refrain. But at least, you know what? Actually, quick correction: the shooting in Destiny felt great, even at launch. Yes, the combat in this does not.
Oh, okay.
So that's a pretty good delineation.
But Destiny didn't have Marvel in it.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what I'm saying. I'm letting the audience know I'm a complete sucker. I'm going to buy a game even though I don't like it. So that's where we're at. I do want to see the story. So I guess that's something. And Troy Baker as Bruce Banner is actually surprisingly phenomenal.
Surprisingly phenomenal that Troy Baker is good at voice acting?
It's such a subdued role compared to his normal stuff. Because he's like a quiet, shy scientist kind of guy. That's not a typical Troy Baker role.
That's true.
Yeah, so I was like, hey, you know what? This guy might be talented. You know, this Troy Baker, he might be someone to keep an eye on.
Well, if you get it, I'm going to have to get it. So looks like we'll be.
Hey, you know, it'd be nice to have someone to suffer through it with. Yeah.
Well, who do you like to play as? So far?
Black Widow so far is my favorite character.
That's right. You said that last week. I guess I'll have to.
She plays the most like Lara Croft, which, you know, coming from the Tomb Raider studio, I guess that's probably why she plays the best. Like, honestly, I can't wait for them to add Hawkeye to the game because I know Crystal Dynamics knows how to put together a bow and arrow.
Well, I usually love bow and arrow characters. Remember the year of the bow?
Yeah, 2012.
A few years ago, and I was so happy that year.
Like Assassin's Creed 3, Crisis 3, Tomb Raider reboot. Yeah, they were knocking out bow and arrow games all the time.
Wasn't a Far Cry game released that year too?
Probably, yeah. Maybe it was a Far Cry 4 Primal or something. But yeah, I mean, that was the year of the bow. That was funny.
It was. So next week, I'll be playing Battletoads. I imagine I'll be playing more Fall Guys.
Yeah.
We got to play some Fall Guys for sure. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, I want to say hello to some new members over on our Facebook community. We had quite a few this week. Let's see. Miria Duckett, Brittany Balderas, Keisha Morris, Dean Thomas, Angel Rivera, Julius Villagomez, Isidro Maldonado, Rican from the Bronx, and Daniel High. If I'm not mistaken, Daniel High is a fellow listener of the Married to the Games podcast. I think he found his way over here from there. So, again, I always pimp those guys, but they have a phenomenal show. Very family-friendly show as well, too. Anyway, if you'd like to join the community over there, it is facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. Also, we've got over on Discord, the D High. Again, Daniel High is over there, so he joined the Discord as well. Welcome, Daniel. High. Glad to have you, man. Hope you were enjoying the show and hearing your name on the show as well. Also, no new iTunes reviews, so if you'd like to help us out, drop us a review. We will not ask for the 5 stars, but if you wanted to, it does help us and help us get the word out about what we do. And lastly, our website, where you can find all of our episodes, All of our written reviews, our Go Shop is on there. And our written reviews that we released this week are Joel Selinsky's review of NASCAR Heat 5, Thomas's review of Willie Morgan and the Curse of Bonetown, Rel's video review of Intrepid Izzy on PC, CB's review of Maid of Scare, Rel's video review of Metamorphosis, which is a game that I really want to play, and then lastly, Zach's written review of Mortal Shell, which you heard him talk about. So if you want to hear more thoughts on that, check it out at thegamingoutsider.com. Now we'll jump into our From the Outside In topic. So a while back, we were talking about how much we enjoyed getting our hands on the gameplay for Final Fantasy VII when Square Enix released a playable demo of the game for free. You could just download it and play that opening mission, and it was awesome. It got me thinking about the days when playable demos were a lot more prevalent than they are today. We just don't see it as much, though. Why do you think that demos have become a thing of the past, Zach?
Man, maybe probably the rise of digital information, I guess. The rise of websites, YouTubing, stuff like that. You don't need to get the word out in quite the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And if you... Twitch, yeah, great example.
I mean, you could just go watch somebody play it and get an idea without even playing it.
Yeah, well, you can do that on YouTube too, Scott.
Well, yeah, but I mean, back in the PlayStation 1 era, YouTube didn't exist.
I understand.
Right.
So I feel like that's probably the biggest deterrent, and honestly, the rise of digital storefronts as well, because they used to do demos, but I feel like for publishers, it's like, well, we could put up a demo, but on our store page, but wouldn't we rather just try to get the money right off the bat?
That makes sense. I also wonder if people worry that if they put a demo out, someone's going to be turned off and not purchase the game because it's not for them, whereas they would have been forced to bite the bullet with their wallet and then find out that it wasn't the game they wanted to play.
Right. Yeah,
I feel like sometimes that is more prevalent.
I mean, look, we were just talking about the Avengers beta. If I hadn't played that, I would have been excitedly purchasing the game on day one.
Right. But since you're a sucker, you're going to buy it anyway.
Right. But if I was smarter, I would know to not buy it now.
That makes sense. I also think that we just have a sheer higher number of games available to us now that people don't even... I wonder if people would even take the time to download a demo and play it when their backlog is so huge. Or, they've got these games like Destiny where they're having fun just doing that same game loop over and over and over again, that the demos just don't work as well as they used to. I'd love to see some data. Someone's got to have been doing data, otherwise demos would still be happening.
Right. Yeah, I mean... speaking anecdotally, just for myself, for me, it's just because there's so much information out there and it's so thorough, I really know what I'm getting from a game typically before I buy it. So I don't need to. Usually, when a demo comes out, or even a beta for something I'm excited for, I typically don't play it because I'm like, I'm just going to get that anyway.
Right. But I mean, that's a game you're already sold on. Are you either that sold or not sold on the game before a game's release because of all the coverage? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, I guess I would use Final Fantasy VII as an example, but we played the demo at E3, so it's kind of like I already played that.
Mm-hmm.
But take another game, Star Wars Squadrons, right?
Sure.
They put out a demo. I would be like, I don't need to. They put out a demo. I would be like, I don't need to play it because I already know I'm going to buy it.
Right. I mean, that's got so many different tick boxes for you. It's Star Wars.
Well, yeah.
it's flight combat. I mean...
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, but you know what you're getting from games. I feel like more.
Do you feel like that's for everybody, though? Because not everybody... We're a couple of hardcore video game nerds. We soak up everything we can, whether it be podcasts, whether it be news articles, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, anything. We're just constantly looking at video game stuff. But does your average consumer soak up that stuff as much?
Well, I was going to say, you think about back in the day, though, the demo discs were tied to video game magazines or special Pizza Hut promotions or what have you.
Right.
Or included with other games. So it was already, the audience for demos was already hardcore gamers.
It's true.
So I wonder, I mean, you're right. I wonder if more casual gamers would ever even play a demo anyway.
But even after the discs were a thing, remember when like downloadable demos for games like on Xbox Live Arcade or PlayStation Network?
I think Xbox Live on 360 required every game to have a demo, right?
At one point, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Like you could just go in and download it and play like, even if it was like 5 minutes just to see what it was like. And I couldn't tell you one game outside of Final Fantasy VII or like a beta or something like, like you're talking with Avengers. I could not tell you a current game right now that has a playable demo out there. That, I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm saying I could not tell you one off the top of my head.
Yeah, and I think you do hear them. I feel like Neo has one, but when you do hear of them, I feel like you hear about them post-launch.
Oh, okay. So the game didn't sell as well as they did, so they decided to put out a demo.
Or maybe it did, and they're like, well, maybe, you can try to get the stragglers with a demo.
Sure. I also wonder what costs are associated with building a demo, because it's not like you can just, cut and paste a portion of your development. You kind of have to tweak it. You have to make a menu that's just for, the demo and cuts off at this certain point, and, got to make sure that none of the code has anything buried that the hackers are going to look at and speculate and get all this information.
Right. Or, I feel like it's just they don't want to deter people. Because you think, look at a game like Cyberpunk. I know people are very excited for that game, but it could, all the other Witcher fans, I think they might be surprised at just how different this is, compared to CD Projekt Red's other games.
Sure.
So I think maybe getting their hands on it, that could deter people from buying it, because they might be like, oh, you know what, actually, this isn't exactly what I thought it was.
Well, and we're talking about AAA games as well. Final Fantasy VII had it. You're talking about possibly Cyberpunk 2077, but there is a myriad of games out there that even we haven't heard of because they're independent developers or nobody's talking about them. Whereas if they put together a demo and, I don't know, found a distribution list and just sent everybody access to this demo.
Yeah, honestly, shame on me. I really wasn't thinking about the indies too much. But there are actually, I can think of a few games that I'm like, that I've held off on buying, like Hat in Time, or there's this 2D game Time Spinner that I really want to play, where, they're full price in the store. I'm like, I don't know if I want to commit. But if they had a demo, I would have the answer.
For someone like me that likes roguelikes, if you gave me a 20-minute demo of like Rogue Legacy 2 and then offered to let me continue where I left off if I purchased the game right now, that feels like that would sell like crazy, because for a numbers guy like me, that doesn't like to waste time, which seems to be a recurring theme this episode. I don't want to waste that 20 minutes I just put in. I'll just go ahead and I'll buy it now, and then I can just keep going whenever I want to instead of having to start all over again.
Great point.
I just feel like there's still a market for demos, and I fully understand that it's not a free thing for them to do. I understand that it's not an easy thing to do. You'd almost have to have like a separate team just building a demo.
Yeah.
But at some point, it seems worth it.
I got to tell you, I wish Sony Ben put out a demo for Days Gone so people could see what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah. I remember when I was going to say, oh yeah, summer is when I'll get caught up.
Yeah. Well, we all knew you were full of it.
I had good intentions, man. That was before, R2V2 looked like it wasn't going to happen, and I had to figure out a way to make some money for next year. But it just always happens, man. Especially like Mass Effect is sitting here.
Well, games just
Days Gone.
Mass Effect.
Yeah, everyone's been telling me I got to play Mass Effect 2. Remember?
Oh, I don't think I would say you don't have to wait long, but I guess they're never going to port it. So
you're probably right. Well, let's go ahead and move on. Do you have any fond memories of demos back in the day? Like, and did they sell you on purchasing the game or turn you off from it?
It's funny. We were just talking about this, but like most of my demo experience I can remember is like, I think I'm playing like Tobal number 2 or like Klonoa or like Bushido Blade had a really good demo.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like these are all things where I actually didn't end up buying the game.
I have the exact same reaction. I played the demo discs that I'm going to talk about here shortly, and never bought the game.
Tell you what, the one example I have of a demo working, CJ Moore brings up Halo Combat Evolved demo in the PC. Sold my dad on getting an Xbox console. I played the Cartographer campaign level and Blood Gulch map so often I had everything memorized, and my friends hated that. My dad, of course, played on the Xbox for about 15 seconds, threw the controller on the couch, and said, I can't tell the floor from the ceiling, and hasn't touched a controller since. Halo? Excuse me. So if you remember old Game Crazy,
Yes.
I was selling... I think I was selling my PS2, and my intention was to get a GameCube off of it.
Right.
And so I traded in my PS2. I had a bunch of money, but while I was waiting for them to like add up all the totals or whatever, I played the Halo demo, and the Halo
got an Xbox instead.
And the Halo demo was so good, and I had heard that a Star Wars RPG was coming at Xbox at some point. So I bought the Xbox because Halo was just so good. And, it's like only that one level or whatever. I was like, I've got to see more of whatever this is. This new sci-fi universe. And then the Game Crazy. So I got Halo. The Game Crazy guy got me to pre-order KOTOR. And, the rest is history. And I love that Xbox to death. But yeah, that would not have happened without that Halo demo. That's the one instance I could think of. But that sold me on a whole freaking console.
It's funny you say that because we've been sitting here touting how we want demos and we think it would help. But between the two of us, that's one demo that either of us can think of that sold us on purchasing the game.
Yeah, and I remember like excitedly playing the Sands of Time demo or the Warrior Within demo, Prince of Persia games. But like in both those instances, I was going to buy the game anyway.
Right. So it just solidified your already made up mind.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm definitely losing the argument against myself here about demos.
Right.
Because Bushido Blade, was a tremendous demo, but it had like 3 characters or whatever and one map, and like you die in one hit in Bushido Blade, like you didn't really need the whole game. Honestly, like everything you wanted was in that demo.
And maybe that's again another reason why people can just get a taste of it and be like, I've had enough.
Yeah,
I'll save my $60 and just say I played it.
Honestly, yeah.
Interesting. Well, I've got one I wanted to share with you because this one hit close to home. As soon as I read it, I could relate to Jeff Swan, who said, "How could anyone forget rushing to Blockbuster to rent the awful Tobal #1?
Hey, Tobal!
Just to play the Final Fantasy VII demo disc, or the not quite as bad but still not very good Brave Fencer Musashi to get the Final Fantasy VIII demo disc. Those were the days, man. I had a sleepover in 8th grade, and we all just sat around all night taking turns farming draw spells in Final Fantasy VIII, seeing how overpowered we could get our characters before the end of the demo. And just like the game itself, it was amazing how much you could tip the scales with that mechanic." Fun fact, Jeff, you do not have to fight any enemies in that game. You can just draw all the magic, escape the fight, and move on. The only enemies you have to fight are the bosses. The game is ostensibly broken, but that's besides the point. Yes, Tobal #1 for Final Fantasy VII. I played that opening demo so many times. So you could say that did sell me on it, but like you mentioned...
Where did it start, the demo? Was it the jumping off the train?
Yes.
Okay.
No. Like jumping off the train. It was like after you blew up the reactor. Like you fought the Scorpion boss and then like ran away, and then I don't think you even jumped on the train, but it was after you blew it up.
So wait, is this the same demo they put out for the remake?
Pretty much.
I've
never made that connection.
That feels intentional. That's cool.
It totally does. But I played that so much because, again, I wasn't allowed to play JRPGs, but this wasn't the game, it was a demo, so I was like, I didn't feel as bad like hiding it.
What an arbitrary distinction.
That was my brain convincing myself as a kid. So I remember I was in a stage where I was trying to convince either my mom or my stepdad that this is not a bad game. Let me just show it to you. And I had played it so many times, so I knew, there's a room over here that's got a potion in this thing, and I was just trucking along like I had done it before. It was very apparent to my stepdad that I had done this before, although I could have argued this is how all these games work. You just search around until you find this stuff. And
well, it's just instinctual. You're just so good at FF7.
Right. Yeah. And I will never forget, because during that demo, my mom saw the swirling screen when it goes into a battle, and she's like, that's where the subliminal messages are. That's where they're telling you to kill yourself. You are not playing this game. I will never forget that for as long as I can live. That was the moment where I had the subliminal messages conversation with my mom, because it was happening in the swirling screen, and
I don't
she
want
could
to
see it.
I won't say anything about your mom, but that sounds like some Fox News quality reporting.
Oh, it totally was. If you've ever seen any of those old ads, or not ads, but what do they call it? Like just like warning video PSAs from churches talking about the evils of Dungeons and Dragons and things. It was that. And as a kid, I could not wrap my head around how this made any sense. Why would a video game company make a product that causes harm to you? They want you to keep buying them.
Yeah, they want repeat business.
Right. So, same thing for Final Fantasy VIII, although I think I spent the majority of the time just watching that intro than actually playing.
Yeah, that intro was awesome, man.
And that music to this day is just still so good. Do you have any others?
Yeah, well, I mean, Sean Coates here says, I had a Dreamcast demo disc, still got it actually, and it had a couple of playable demos, including a Tomb Raider game, MDK2, and Tony Hawk Pro Skater. I really wanted to get the Dreamcast version of THPS, but I already had the PS1 version, so you can imagine the sale pitch I had to give to my parents. Almost like giving the coffee is for closer speech from the movie Glengarry Glen Ross. I think I'm too young for that reference. Needless to say, it didn't happen, and it wouldn't end up in the Dreamcast version until about 5 years ago.
Wait a minute.
You've
never seen Glengarry Glen Ross?
What is it?
Oh man, you have to see that movie just for the opening scene alone. The movie is kind of lame, but the scene at the beginning where Alec Baldwin is a sales manager, and he is coaching these three guys on how to sell. And he's like, we're running a sales promotion this month. First place, what was it? First place is a car. Second place, set of steak knives. Third place, you're fired.
Whoa.
And it's like this hardcore speech, and he's the big line in that is, you can't have coffee. Coffee's for closers. If you're not a closer, you don't deserve coffee. It was just like this badass. Okay. Just go like YouTube, Glengarry Glen Ross, Alec Baldwin speech, and you don't even need to see the rest of the movie. The movie's awful.
He has a speech in like some movie called Mercy, I think. He plays a surgeon.
Okay.
And he just talks about how, when people are in the emergency room, he's like getting a divorce, and the lawyers are like, your wife says you have a God complex. He's like, I don't have a God complex. I am God.
Right.
And he talks about how, like, when you're in the ER praying for your daughter to live, you're not praying to the God upstairs. You're praying to the surgeon down the hall who has her in for open heart surgery. So yes, I don't have a God complex. That sounds like a very Alec Baldwin line I could hear him saying. In college film school, they made us study that scene. That's why it comes to mind.
Nice. Yeah, go YouTube that scene. You don't need to bother watching the entire movie.
Yeah, Alec Baldwin knows how to deliver a freaking monologue. So
he really did. And that's like his only scene in the entire movie.
Oh, really?
He's never in the rest of the movie, I don't think. It's been 20 years since I've seen it, but it's all about those other guys just like desperately trying to find leads and trying to hit their sales because they don't want to get fired, and it's not even about like the prize. They just want to keep their jobs, and it's like a very stressful movie. But
right.
I'm picturing Sean now in front of his parents, like with a PowerPoint presentation
about
coffees for closers.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yeah, because he already owned it.
That's how I convinced my mom to let me trade in the PS2.
Yeah,
I wrote out a bullet point list of why the Xbox made more sense, or the GameCube and the Xbox made more sense as consoles than the PS2 for me to have.
You had a business proposal prepared.
Yeah, I was like, hey, look, I know we spent the money on the PS2, but let me tell you about these other consoles.
I love it.
That was my big sales pitch.
Although you kind of shot yourself in the foot because the PS2 had way more games.
I gotta tell you, I was
both combined, I would imagine.
Right, but Xbox again had KOTOR, which is a top fiver for me.
Quality over quantity.
Yes, and it had the better versions of Chaos Theory and Double Agent and all that, Splinter Cell. So I think I did for what I wanted out of life. Advent Rising, Breakdown, another set of favorites. I think I did okay, Scott.
I think you did too, man.
Shaped me, all right. But I did think about a demo that I think we can all relate to, and that's buying Crackdown for the Halo 3 beta.
I did not.
You did not?
No.
Okay.
Was it Halo 2?
It's Halo 3.
Halo 3?
You didn't buy Crackdown?
I didn't play Crackdown until much later in the Xbox 360 cycle.
Oh, okay.
So I missed out on the little chime that you get whenever you the orbs. Everyone raved about it.
I can't imagine I was alone in buying Crackdown just for the Halo 3 beta.
But it also wasn't a poor purchase. It wasn't like you were buying Tobal number 1.
No. Yes, I mean, yeah, you got Crackdown, which was amazing out of the deal.
Yeah.
But it definitely only bought it for the Halo 3 beta originally.
Wouldn't that be something? If they put demos for other games on the disc for you?
Yeah, why? Yeah.
Why isn't that a thing?
Yeah, why
There's
don't
going to be
they do
some
that?
cross-pollination. Is that the right word? Cross-marketing?
Yeah, like, Final Fantasy 15 comes with a demo of Final Fantasy 7 or something. Yeah, why wouldn't you? That'd be smart.
It'd be like a win-win, even if it wasn't the same company. Like, hey, let's make a deal. You put a demo of our game on yours, and we'll put a demo of yours on ours.
We'll put a demo of Avengers into Miles Morales, and we'll put a demo of Miles Morales into Avengers.
Yeah, I mean, it would. I mean, if the only way that would really work is if they released very, very close together.
Yes. Well, those two games will.
True.
Same year. I mean, anyway.
Speaking of the discs, I wanted to share Nate Lucas's comment on Twitter at NatePlays3. He said, "PlayStation Underground, baby. My favorite was the disc that had Destruction Derby and Spider on it. All those demos were absolute gems, and I spent hours playing through them over and over again." That's what I thought of when I first started talking about demos, was the discs that you got, those PlayStation I think they came in the mail, just those, didn't they? It was a club you were a part of, where you would get like these discs in the mail just like every month, and they just have a bunch of demos on them.
I thought Underground was a magazine for some reason.
There was one that came with the magazine, but I think this one was like a subscription, and you would just get it in the mail like every month and whatever was on it. I remember the one he's talking about had Destruction Derby and Spider. Spider was a cool game that I wish they had capitalized on. It was like you were half spider, half like robot. Like the scientist had grafted mechanical legs onto this spider and gave him tools and stuff, and it was like a 2D platformer. It was awesome.
Okay,
yeah, I played that one. But the ones that stuck out to me, I can't remember if it was PlayStation Underground or if it was one of the ones in the magazine you're talking about. Parappa the Rapper had a demo, and this is one that didn't sell me because I never bought the game. But I played that Punch Kick It's All in the Mind song more times than I care to admit, just over and over again, because I had never played a rhythm game before. This was cool. It felt awesome.
You know what, man? This you just reminded me. Do you know the game Phantom Dust?
Yes.
I remember on the official Xbox magazine, they had a demo disc, right? Uh-huh. And there was a code that you could punch in. It was at the back of the magazine, like upside down, had like a code of like, hold LB, RB, or like LTR2, like black, white, YA or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And I did I don't remember even saying what it was for, but you punched it in on the demo disc, and it unlocked a demo of Phantom Dust, which at the time was only Japanese. So it was in a Japanese language demo. All the menus, everything in Japanese as well. And if I remember correctly, that demo and its popularity is why the game ever got translated into English.
Wow.
That's
a really cool story.
I remember my friend showing me this demo, and it was entirely Japanese. We had no idea what we were doing, but it was like, it's such a cool, neat kind of, combat game. And yeah, that helped get the game the exposure it needed.
That's interesting.
Phantom Dust.
I got one more, but I want to see if you got another one before we finish up.
Oh, well, yeah, this one I just thought, tragic. I remember hearing this happening. Dusty Potter said, I remember when I played the Beautiful When I played the Beautiful Joe 2 demo and it deleted my memory card. I was so mad. LOL. I don't know how you could laugh out loud, Dusty. 2005-ish or so, if I remember. Yeah, I remember hearing that happening. That sucks.
When a demo erases your memory card. That was back.
Oh my God.
It still just blows my mind that we had save data on a memory card that you could physically lose at one point.
Yes, and you would bring it over to your friends and you would have to make darn sure you didn't forget it. Both PS2 games had that little slot you could put the memory card in on the case.
Right, but still, there's no way to back up that data. You couldn't
you're playing with fate every time you left your house with the memory card.
Yeah. It's just crazy that's a way. Now it's just cloud save, which I mean, I guess you could could technically lose that too if something crashed.
Be hard to lose a cloud save. I guess Sony could lose it.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I mean, anything could happen. There's always a risk, but trusting a child with a tiny piece of plastic that you could technically swallow.
Yeah, I guess so.
The smaller, some of them ones, not the. I guess the PlayStation ones were a little bit big, but
I still have my PS2 memory card around here somewhere.
I had one other one, which was random, from Chip Halt. He said, the first demo I remember selling me on a game was a pinball game on PC. Go figure, pinball. I got to talk about it. I think it was called Crystal Cavern. I don't recall how it worked. It either let you go a certain score or a particular goal, but it was enough to make me go buy the game. More recently was a Final Fantasy demo. I had never played any Final Fantasy games, so I was on the fence about the remake. The demo completely sold me on the game. So well done, Square Enix, on that one. But the pinball one he mentioned, my first PC, which my dad bought for me with lottery winnings. He won Powerball one year, not like the big one. He won like $5,000, like every number but one of the white balls, and he bought me a computer. And it came with a demo of a pinball game that I could not for the life of me tell you what it was, but I think that's where my love for pinball started.
Wow. Okay.
And I don't remember what it was. By today's standards, it's very poor, but it was only that one board, and it was like it was trying to sell you to buy the others. As a kid, I didn't have access to buying it like I do today, so I never got it. But I played that demo over and over and over and over and over.
There you go.
And that spawned my love for pinball in general. So there you have it.
So the transformative demo.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I like it. Well, Zach, that was a fun topic, man. We got a lot of legs out of that. I did not expect to talk about game demos for so long, but
yeah, it's funny that we entered it with like they need to come back, and then ended with actually maybe not.
Maybe not. We like talked ourselves out of it.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy. Anyway, thanks to everybody. Let's see, Chip, Nate, Jeff, CJ, Dusty, and Sean, as well as everybody whose comments we did not have time to get to. We really appreciate all the feedback. Keep them coming, guys. And don't forget that you can call us. We got a voicemail line. If you'd like to hear your voice on the podcast, you can call us at area code 347-746-2278, or if a little easier, 3477-GO-CAST. Again, 3477-GO-CAST. That is going to do it for this episode of the Gaming Outsider. Zach, any parting words before we get out of here?
You know what, man? This week, I really don't have a lot. I've been playing Mortal Shell to high heaven, playing or reading a Dark Force Rising Star Wars novel. I haven't been up to a lot this week.
Yeah, well, you completed Mortal Shell in like a weekend, so I gotta.
That was gnarly. Yeah, that was intense. You know what? Play Fall Guys, guys. Everybody out there, play Fall Guys. It's one of the rare smiley things in 2020.
Yes, that's a really good thing. I feel like everybody needs a laugh. It's really difficult to play that game with anybody around without somebody busting out laughing.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I have a recommendation that I feel is going to be uplifting. I randomly came across a documentary on Netflix this week. Hear me out.
Is it High Score?
Is it? No. That one doesn't come out till later this week.
Oh, okay.
This is not video game related at all. Well, kind of. The documentary is called The Speed Cubers. And it is about
Rubik's Cubes, right?
The Rubik's Cube competition. It's about it's about the competition in general, but specifically two of the competitors that are very prolific in this arena, which I didn't even know was that big. It's, number one, shocking at how big a deal Rubik's Cube things are, and it's insane.
They have like mats that time it, right? They have to set it down on and stuff.
Right, you have to put your fingers on this thing, and then the timer starts as soon as your fingers release, and then it stops when you slam it down. It's an insane thing, but believe it or not, this is one of the most uplifting things I've seen in a long time. It is only 40 minutes long as well. It feels like an episode of a television show.
Love that. I love hearing that.
But it's only 40 minutes long. It's like, you've seen King of Kong, right? Fistful of Quarters?
Of course, yeah.
Imagine if King of Kong were about two guys that totally respected one another and cheered each other on instead. That's what Speed Cubers is. And there's a little bit more of a twist to it that I don't want to give away, but it is a joyful thing to watch that I feel like even if you're not into Rubik's Cubes, which I'm not, I have never solved one in my entire life, watch this documentary. It is really, really good. I just walked away with a smile on my face for more than one reason. So, the Speed Cubers.
Okay.
You gonna watch it?
I think I am, yeah.
I mean, how can you not for 40 minutes?
It's 40 minutes that's exactly right. Condensed storytelling, man. Bring it back.
Seriously. Like, how many documentaries out there where it's like 10 episodes, like a series?
I can't tell you the number of things I've seen on Netflix where I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. And then I click on it. It's like, oh, it's a 10-part series. Never mind.
Right.
I don't need to.
Like this is a one shot.
Exactly. Like, was the Nun documentary, like the Staircase, that was called? I was like,
no, the Staircase is the one about the dude that was accused of murdering his wife by pushing her down the stairs.
Okay.
The Nun one.
I can't keep track of all these things.
Man, the Nun one, if you can just at least watch the first 2 episodes, that second episode is one of the most uncomfortable documentary episodes I've ever seen.
Okay.
I apologize. I cannot think of the name of it right now. I don't want to Google it while we're on the show, but that I was uncomfortable watching that. It was
that has sold me more than anything.
I mean, the rest of it is, whatever. They barely solve it. They don't really, I mean, that's the thing that's frustrating with these like 10-part ones and there's no resolution. Like, stop.
Yeah, I understand.
Like, just stop. But anyway, thanks, Zach, for being here. It was awesome to chat with you.
Yeah,
CB,
of course.
We'll look forward to having you back again next week.
Going well with you.
For sure. And all of you listening, thank you so much for doing so. The Gaming Outsider is produced by Nate Lucas, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. His website is stemagemusic.com. That's STEMAGE music. He does some awesome stuff. He did the Bubsy soundtrack. He did a cool 80s retro song for Devolver Digital's presentation recently that is a must listen to if you're a fan of 80s nostalgic stuff. It's awesome. Also, be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.